Okay, so hey everybody, my name is Becky Auer. I appreciate you being here today. And look, we are on, I think, week number 7, and we are just going to go full force today. So this is where it really gets fun. It gets into what I call the fun stuff. All the stuff I did before this was organization and setting your goals and things like that. So today we're going to go ahead and get ready and talk about identifying your target market, which is a really, really important step. So let us get started. So my overall goal every single week is to provide you content-rich, straight to the point, instructional material presentation so you can sit in your office in your comfort zone. And but look, we all want to generate more leads, get more clients, and get more profits in your business. And I get it. I've been there. I know what you're talking about. I always ask that you keep an open mind as we go forward. You know, everybody likes to stay in their comfort zone, and I get it. I was nervous at the beginning of these 7 weeks ago. And look, when you step outside your comfort zone, that is where the magic happens. So I just ask you to keep that in mind because I know that being an entrepreneur is lonely. There's no safe place to talk to other people or to get ideas and bounce ideas off of other people. If your spouse isn't supportive of you, there's no really safe place to go. So it's really lonely out there, and I understand that. We all know that when we started our business, we all thought it was going to be a safe, easy path up to success, and a lot of times it's just a scribbled mess, and that's okay because you learn from those failures. My name is Becky Auer. For those of you that don't know me, thank you for joining me. I am a 3-time multi-million-dollar business owner, been voted top 20 business coach in the world in 2017. I've gotten lots of awards. I've written 2 books. I don't say any of this to brag. I am saying that so you get to know me a little bit better and that you understand that I understand where you are, where you're headed, right? I want to be able to help you. So I sold all those businesses, and now what I do is coach and train other business owners how to do what I did. So I appreciate you being here with me. So look, so far, some of the things that we've done, we have calculated what your time's worth on an hourly basis. You know that time and what is most productive in your time. We talked a little bit about time blocking and how to do that. And you have implemented, 5 different strategies probably by now to improve your personal time management. If you didn't get to do any of that or missed a week or something, go ahead and look back in the in YouTube. I'm posting all these on YouTube until I push them over to the vault, and you'll be able to find this previous lesson. Okay. Okay, so today we're talking about how to identify your target market. And when you identify or determine your target market, it is absolutely the first job as a business owner. If you don't know who you're talking to or communicating to through your marketing, then it's going to be a problem. So we really have to dig deep into that. And this week, I always like to say it now is officially marking step 1 of a 5-step process that I'm going to teach you, which will help you bring qualified leads right into your business. So qualified leads, let's discuss what that means exactly. So qualified leads are people who are the most likely to buy from you. They either have a problem, a need, or a desire. And then you have the solution to that. So these people are definitely your target market or your ideal client or customer. These leads are easier to turn into customers if you're talking directly to them who have the problem and you understand what they're going through. They're going to turn into a client for you. So when they do that, it means when you talk to them directly like that, it means higher conversions and, of course, more profits, which is the only reason we're all really in business. So here's a great example of like something going wrong. If you had a hamburger, hot dog stand, and you're outside of a big convention, waiting for the big lunch break, and you want to take advantage of that, rush of people to, generate leads and that type of thing. The people, you have everything prepared, right? The toppings are out and your flyers are simple and people have handed them out for you, and the door opens and you have a gazillion people coming out and you sell 25 hot dogs. So let's talk about what happened there. So what you didn't realize before you set up outside was that the convention was all geared to good health and good wellness. And they're 95% vegetarians, and vegetarians wouldn't be having a hot dog or a hamburger. So I tell that story because the moral of the story is if you're talking to the wrong audience, it doesn't matter how great your offer is. It is a total waste of time. So it's really, really critical to have, to have successful marketing, to be talking to your exact target market. And let's talk about what that looks like. Your first job is to figure out who that is and how the people in that category think and behave. So here's a couple questions for you, or here's what we're going to cover today. How your target market influences your marketing choices, a step-by-step process for how you can identify your perfect target market, types of target markets, examples of target markets, and then some market research strategies to help you to be able to do all that if you don't know where to get started. So generating your qualified leads will make it simple for you to boost your conversion rates and take your give your prospects already will have what you want and what you need, but they're not going to be there if you don't have the right person. So a target market is really just a group of people with things that are in common, like, what sex are they? Where are they located? What are their interests? What's their age? Those types of things. And they will be purchasing a particular product or service from you. So your market can be huge in scope, or it can be unique to a business or an industry. And what we always like to say is the riches are in the niches. So if you can really niche that down even better, you can really jump in and talk to them about what their problem is. So if you don't have knowledge or understanding, it absolutely is crucial to your business. If you don't have that, then you're going to be writing all these marketing messages to people and maybe getting no response. And so it's a critical part. So you really have to know how to communicate with your customers. For example, if you're in an area where it's all old people, you may not be communicating digitally, right? You may be, writing snail mail letters or postcards to them. Or here's a thought, picking up the telephone and talking to them that way, right? So you just really have to make sure that however they communicate your target market, that's how you want to communicate with them. With them. So without a complete understanding of this, you really can't make any smart choices for any kind of front-end offers, for your marketing strategies, for your pricing structure for your product or service. So it's really kind of like, you don't have your foundation built yet if you don't know this one specific thing. So in addition to all of that, you make assumptions and you are understanding their purchasing motivations. Market research is really something that you'll need to get in the habit of doing on a regular basis to monitor any trends and stay ahead of your competition. Because look, no matter what you're doing, you are not out there in a sea of one. You just aren't, with maybe the exception of the woman who attended my meeting last night and she was a psychic medium. Okay, there are other psychic mediums out there, but she's a much smaller category than somebody who has a restaurant, for example, right? So you really, really have to monitor and stay ahead of your competition on what those market trends are. So it's not always super simple, but I'm gonna give you some ways to make it super simple so it pays off for you in the end. So here's a quick, easy, step-by-step process to identify your target market. So you probably already have an idea of who that target market is or who you want it to be. Maybe you're just a startup and you don't exactly know yet. But you have an idea in your head of who you think that's going to be, that's going to buy your stuff, right? So start really by describing your target market in 2 or 3 sentences. Just write them down or type them up on your computer. And then as you work through that, you will find possibly that maybe you have the correct assumptions or not as we go through this for your audience. So when you start, you want to find that group of people that has these 4 different characteristics. They have a particular need, want, or desire. They have the money to be able to purchase your solution to their need, want, or desire. So like I've worked with a fellow for a long time, and he wanted to market to the rock and roll industry, to the people and to the musicians, right? Like the starving artists. And so he would do a great job, but not a lot of them bought because they were starving artists. So make sure that the people that you're marketing to have the financial wherewithal to be able to purchase whatever it is you're offering for them. They have the power to decide whether they want to make that purchase. So like if I am just like a plebe in a company, right, an employee, and I think it's a great idea, but the boss, he doesn't, it doesn't matter how much I think that idea is great if I'm not the one in charge of that. And then they have access to your business through either a brick and mortar store or through the internet, right, or catalog. So let's take a look at what it is you offer or provide your customers. So to bind a group of people with all of this, you have to answer the following questions. So number one, what is the need, desire, or product that will fulfill those services? So do you offer primarily, does what you offer primarily fulfill a desire, a service, or cater to a want? You know, what is that for you or your business, at least the one you're concentrating on right now? What does it cost, right? Financial is always out there. So do you have a high-end product, or is it a low-cost alternative, or maybe you have both? Like when I hold my monthly meetings, it's only $10 a month, but I have levels from there that go up to a mastermind group and private clients, right? Private consulting. So you can have different levels of those things, and most people do in their business. Do you sell big, huge items like kitchen appliances, or small items just like household cleaning supplies and products? Who's going to make that purchase decision? Like if you have a product for children, maybe you have a daycare, the parents are going to be the one making that decision, not the kids, right? And how are your products or services assessed? Do they have to be locally in your same city or in your region of, geographic area, or can they get to you through online or through a catalog? Okay, so now let's look at couple of different things: demographics and psychographics characteristics that the people need, that can afford, they can access, and decide to purchase the offering. So for demographics, you want to ask a couple things to yourself. Those things are age. In the general terms, what's the age range of that product or service? Is it kids? Is it tweens? Is it millennials? What is that for you? Income range. How much do they have to make sure that they can afford my product? Is it a single income household or a double income household? If you're going towards singles, maybe they just have one income, and so they can't spend extra money on stuff like yours, whatever that might be. Is it a low, medium, high, medium, or low income, medium income, or high income? And then their gender. Is it are you primarily focused on men, women, or both? Then we go into the generation, right? So millennial, you're going to talk to millennials different than you're going to talk to maybe Gen X, Gen Y, or boomers, right? So what generation is that out there that you're speaking directly towards for your target market? What nationality are there, and is it even relevant to your product or service? And then ethnicity. Is ethnicity relevant to your product or service? Marital status. Are your people that you're speaking with single? Are they married? Are they divorced? And does that matter? So like yesterday, again, one of my members focuses towards women who are either getting a divorce, contemplating a divorce, or in the process of divorce. So marital status is a huge thing to her, right? And your family size might be another option. Does your product or service cater to large families, small families, or is it even relevant to you? Occupation or industry. Does your product or service appeal to people in a certain occupation or industry? So we have a fella in our group who does, truck siding and awnings and things like that. So for him, occupation or industry is primarily what he wants to focus on, people that drive that truck and that type of thing. Okay, religion, that's another one. Is religion relevant to your product or service? If so, you have to know that before you write your stuff, right? Language, is it relevant? And your education. Is your level of education for your primary customers? Are they, they have a college degree, a master's degree? Are they a doctor? That type of thing. Did they attend high school? Did they attend university? Oopsie. Lifestyle. So let's talk about that for a minute. So what kind of lifestyle does your audience fall into? Look, if they're driving truck, they don't have much of a life Monday through Friday, right? And on the weekends, they want to be home. Are they trendy? Are they conservative? Are they, soccer moms? Are they extravagant? Are they thrifty? Right? Those are just a couple lifestyle things that as you write your marketing content, you want to be aware of all that. Your values and your benefits, what do they believe? What do, are there safety concerns and things like that that all come into this? And what's their attitude like? Are they positive? Are they negative? Are they critical? I am in a Facebook group that one of my friends runs for vets, and there's a lot of criticism in there because it's all about vets finding a job. So like their attitude going in is not great, but once they get one, then they share their experience and what works for them. Okay, so attitude plays a big part. Motivation. Look, do your people want to find a solution? Are they opinionated leaders? Are they followers? Do they tell other people, like when they find something great, are they going to share that with other people? Because if they do, like that's exactly what happened at the restaurant, right? We were kind of trendy, hip, sexy, and the word of mouth spread and they shared it with other people. So it's, it's motivation on their end to share that great experience with their friends. So how can you work that into your business? Activities and interests. What do they do in their spare time? Do they have hobbies or different interests that you can integrate or talk about, like for a trucker, for example, if they're over the road and they get home, it's probably all about family time and, being somewhere stable for a while. And their social class. Is there a social class involved? Do they belong to, lower middle or upper middle class? Because you're going to talk to somebody in the upper class different than you talk to somebody in the lower class, right? Do they have the money to spend on whatever that is that you're offering? Because if they don't, there's no sense really going after that audience, right? Okay, so now that we have all of this information, what's it going to tell you about your ideal client? So make sure you do your research. I know not a lot of people like to do research, but once you do your research, then you have a whole picture of what that person is. Then take that information and write 1 to 2 sentences and be as specific as you can about your target market. So here's an example, because I live by examples. I do my best work when I can see somebody else's example. So my target market is a successful young professional, a middle-class man, aged 20 to 35. This is just an example, by the way, he sounds pretty good though, who is single, makes more than $50,000 per year, and is physically fit. He is college educated and has an active interest in economics or politics. Here's another example. My target market is affluent new mothers who are married, women with children under 5 years old, between the ages of 25 and 45, and they have a household income of at least $100,000 annually. She is a trend and an opinion follower, and her purchase motivations are driven by her peer group. Okay, so what somebody else says is more, she gets affected by that. So those are just 2 different examples of how you can use, of what you can do to write up your 2 or 3 lines. So now that we've made our educated assumptions about who the target market is that you're focusing on, we have to then do some market research strategies and go ahead and confirm them. And again, this is not the most fun thing, but it is a critical part of what you do. So the market research is a study of this group of consumers that you've, declared that this is who your target market is. It's one of the best and most valuable activities that you'll work on because it keeps you connected with them. And it also keeps you informed. Like, look, if you know those 2 things that I just read, like we'll take that mom group. If you know that about them, then you're going to go even further. You're going to know that they're probably in mom groups for play dates and that type of thing. You might know that here in, the Pittsburgh area, there's a swim club for little kids. And so you can target market to those people in those places once you know this information. It will absolutely make your business skyrocket because you're talking about their problems and they want their solutions or a need. So when you begin, you make sure you want to start out with a clear question that you want answered. Otherwise, you're going to get off track and end up with more information than you really need. So here's a couple examples of those questions. Am I right about my target audience assumptions, right? So like you have to test that out. Is your target audience interested in my new product or service? And I'm going to give you some ways to find out to make sure that you're on the right track. Do I need more information about my target audience's purchase motivations? And what trends are my target audience following? Is there any current recent economic developments that have impacted my target market? Because that could be a big one, right? Like if the economy goes down or things like that, and they go from $100,000 income down to $50,000. That's a big, huge thing that you need to know about. How can I improve my customer service to work directly with them? So maybe that's a bot that's on your Facebook group, if that's how you communicate with them and you can't be there all the time. Just how do you improve your customer service, and has your target market changed within the past year? So I say to you, this should absolutely be done at least once a year, more than that if you have time to do it, okay? So it needs to be regularly, no matter how long you've been in business, because things change, trends shift. Things happen, and that's going to impact you. Maybe it's a government thing that you didn't see coming, that's a new rule or a new law. So you have to be on the cutting edge of that kind of stuff, or your whole industry could go down the tubes. So there's two types of target research I always talk about. One is primary, one is secondary. And you can do these a lot of different ways. You can do them through consumers, just talking. How about picking up the phone and talking to your actual clients who have already paid you money? Stellar idea. Nobody does it. Just ask some of your clients, write up 5 questions for them and just call them up. One is to be like a mystery shop on your competitors. Call them, see what they're doing, ask those same questions, see where they are compared to your services and that type of thing. Maybe they offer something, maybe you're a bank and they offer, a drive-through, and the 5 people or, the places that you call, those people love that drive-through and your bank doesn't have a drive-through. So knowing that they might, like it was always a pain when I had to get my kids out of the car to go into the bank if I could just drive through, right? So that could be a whole huge thing that you never thought about or never thought made a difference for you. And then, how do you adjust your message for those to get those people over to your bank type of a thing? And the environment's always another one. So when you talk about the customers, the competition, the environment, some places that you can look for that kind of stuff is in statistics. There's always statistics out there. There are trade journals out there. You can do public surveys of your people. You can get government publications. And then for environment, there's always newspapers, trade journals, all the little, things that are in the boxes outside of, your grocery stores and that type of thing. Firsthand, I call it the primary questions you're going to ask are info exactly from the source. If you call up that computer, you want to get the most current people that have either walked through your door or visited your website and made a purchase. Those are the ones that you want to talk to, and you want to be specific with them when you talk to them. You don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. So have your questions written out ahead of time. When you talk to your competition, find out kind of what's working, what isn't working. I always used to mystery shop other, Japanese steakhouses because I wanted to see what they were doing different from us. Are they offering different things with our, in a Japanese steakhouse, it was one price and you got soup, salad, appetizer pieces, and then the dinner, right? So what is that for your business? If we're losing customers and the new place down the street opens and gives you rice and noodles and, more appetizer and everything for a lower price than ours, yeah, that would put up a red flag to us, but you're not going to know that unless you do your research. So I always like to not discount. You want to add value. So what does that look like? How can you give yourself an edge by maybe if they make a purchase, then you tack on something that adds value, doesn't cost you a lot, but shows the customer that you're adding value to them. And then different lead gen strategies that your competition uses that maybe you don't use. Maybe they have a very active Facebook group page and maybe you haven't started that yet. So would that be something that you have time to do or that you'd want to do if you're reaching that type of audience? So strategies for well, we talked about the secondary market. So demographic research is something that you won't have to conduct yourself. Every city or every town has demographic information. You just either have to go online and find it, or you can go to your government agency and find it, or you can ask around. Online and consumer research for the customer and the environment. Again, it can be expensive if you want to pay for those types of things. So I like to use, the secondary research where you don't have to pay for all that, but you just have to make some calls. Look, most information these days is available online. You can pretty much Google anything and it's usually going to be free. Or you can also contact your local chamber or your local businesses that are around that serve that small business public. So don't forget to utilize those business centers and chambers that are around too. So primary market research strategies that you don't want to miss. Let's talk about them. So spend some time in your local area at different times of the day, and you just observe and talk to people who live in the area, work there, spend time there. What do you notice about their neighborhood? Is it affluent? Is it, blue collar? What's that look like? Why do people kind of congregate there? Is there anything missing from that area where you could slide in and, have that as a service for people? And as you sit around, get a sense of their age. Is it male or female? Do they wear upscale clothing? What other things can you find out from just, sitting there having a coffee for an afternoon? Most people never take the time to do this kind of stuff. Any kind of competing businesses, if you have direct competitors in your local area, spend some time being their customer, right? They don't probably know you. So how do they advertise? Where are they targeting, their people? Is there any niche market that is being missed that you never thought about that, that your competition is doing? I love surveying. I love either calling people up and just asking them or sending out a survey through your email list. Now, a lot of you might say, well, I don't have an email list online. Okay, so that's number one. You should all have an email list that is digital that you can send out an email anytime you want to. I could do a whole lesson just on that. You have to be able to segment the people. So if you don't have that, make sure you're getting all your customers' names, emails into some type of list. Because then you can send out a survey to the whole list. If you have a Facebook group, you can do a survey in the Facebook groups these days by a poll or what have you. But if you send out a survey, you just ask them. If you are a restaurant, you can complete the survey at the bottom and get, free appetizer or 50% off when you fill out the survey. Even the post office does surveys, okay? At least our local post office does. Keep your questions short, keep them very focused. All you really want is that information. So when you have it short and focused, it will get you a higher response rate than I usually try and go and fill out surveys, or if I stay at a hotel and go to fill out information, I try and do that for them because I'm a small business owner. I know what that means to them. And if I can give them feedback to make it better for my next visit, I like to do that. If it's a few questions. If it's going to take 30 minutes of my time, no, I'm not going to do that. So keep it short, keep it focused, and get the information that will really help you increase your business. And again, this is just a FYI, your information is only going to be as good as the people that you ask for it. So try and get, not exactly all the same type of people. Get a broad, cross-section of those people, because you don't want to limit it just to existing customers if you can. If you can ask others too, even better, because maybe they're not your customer yet, but they want to become your customer. Maybe they didn't even know you were out there, okay? So choose a survey method. You can call them on the telephone. You can do it over the internet. There's a resource called surveymonkey.com. It's free. You can ask, I think, up to 4 questions for free. And then you can do a Survey Monkey that's up to, as many questions as you want. But if you can do it for free and you have an email list and you send it out and you survey, look, you've come in here before and spent money. What other services would you like to see me offer? What would be good for you? What are their wants? What are their needs? And can you fulfill that for them? Because then they don't have to go somewhere else and find someone to do that. Example, if you're a spa and you offer skin tightening, maybe a survey would go out. What else would you like me to offer? Oh, massage. I trust you already. I trust you with my skin. I trust you, you know, with all that kind of stuff. If you had someone that did massage at your place, I would get massages there. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Maybe that person that spa owner has never thought of that, right? But she gets 3 or 4 people saying, I'd love it if you offered massage. I'd love it if you offered laser hair removal, you know, those kind of things. And all of a sudden, oh, that's a great idea. They're already telling me that they want it. Now I either just have to, you know, find somebody that does that, or do I even have enough room for that? But at least you have that valuable information. Again, include basic demographic questions on your survey so you can cross-reference the different factors like age, income, sex, and profession. You can use a website tracking system like Google Analytics to monitor when people come to your website. I am not an expert at Google Analytics, but I have people who are experts at Google Analytics. So if you need somebody, reach out to me and I'll share that information with you. But Google Analytics can literally tell you everything from how many people visit your site and where they're from and what exact pages they're looking at and how long they spend on your site. One site that again, a free resource that I'll share with you is called Smart, LOOK.com, SmartLook, and free or whatever, but it actually shows you when somebody comes to your website, like what they're clicking on. You can see in real-time movements like that they click over here, they go to contact me at the bottom, or what that is. So it's kind of a cool feature. If you are interested in more information about your website, you can see what they're, you know, stopping and looking at and where they might be confused and that kind of thing. But you actually can see real-time action there. If you're a retail establishment, you probably have a point of sale system. So there's probably all sorts of features and things in there that you probably never use. But if you do use it properly, there's patterns and trends and things that you'd be able to see through your POS system. I had a customer loyalty program. It kept track of everybody's purchases and information in one account. It was the best thing I ever did, was start a customer loyalty program. If you are a brick and mortar, I suggest you do that. There are companies, again, out there that do this for a living. You don't have to do it yourself. I tried to self-manage in the beginning. Disaster. It was horrid. I finally wised up and just hired a company that already did that. So if you have that information, look, you want to be able to know how many times they've been in your store, what they bought when they were there, the amount of their purchases and that type of thing. It's hugely important. I could thank those people throughout the year based on how many times they've been in, or if I knew they were only buying sushi, I could invite them just to a sushi and sake tasting, right? But if you don't have that information at hand and are able to segment it, disaster, okay? So you have to get that online list going. Focus groups. I just did this the other day for a new product I was thinking of bringing out. I invited 10 people to my home. I made it some cute little name like food, drink, and questions or something like that. So they knew they were going to come here. And I was going to ask them specific questions. It was only about 45 minutes. They were happy to come. It was after work. They got some free food. I had some wine. And I sat them down and asked them 20 minutes of questions. It was awesome, right? But no one ever thinks to have a focus group. Do it. It's super simple. And people want to help. What I have found is people, if you ask them to help you, they will. Most people don't know that you want that help. Okay, so once you completed your market research, now you analyze what you've learned. You go back to the original question and you get the outcome. How has the market research supported the question that you started out to answer? Were your original assumptions correct or were they wrong? Okay, so does your target market exist in a geographic area? That's one of the things you might want to answer. Does your target market actually want what I'm selling? Huge. No sense spending all this money to create something and nobody wants it. Okay, ask me how I know that. Duh. Okay, so make sure the target market knows or wants exactly what you're creating, what you're selling. Do they want to purchase it from me? Maybe they have, you know, a best friend that has the same thing. And are they interested in my new product or service? How do they want to communicate? How do they want me to communicate with them? Is it through email? Is it through phone? Is it through snail mail? Is it through internet? You know, what is that? Because If you get that wrong, you're not getting any feedback. Is your target market a big enough area to support your services? So look, if you're online, the world is at your fingertips, right? Other than time zones. If you're a brick and mortar in a local geographic area, is that area big enough to support what it is you want to do? And then are the areas of research, that you need to get more information from? So you may come to the conclusion, that this is not going to work, but you're going to thank me because I have saved you hours and hours and hours of time and money. Again, ask me how I know that. But maybe it's just not a big enough area to support what it is you want to do as a brick and mortar store. You've seen stores come in, you've seen stores go out of business. Sometimes that's really, really fast. And sometimes it's a long, difficult process, right? But I want to try and save you from that. Any information you get is valuable information. It just helps you make better decisions and better marketing strategies. So if you have flexibility, you might be able to find ways that can enhance your offerings or your product or your service. And you can also maybe, extend your area to those different people and get a bigger piece of the pie, if you will. So your market research, it should be ongoing every time you talk to a customer. Suppliers are great to talk to because they talk to everybody else that they're delivering to you. They're delivering to everybody else. So suppliers and vendors, great people to talk to. Sales reps, if you have sales reps, look, they're out in the field. They're actually talking to other business owners. So if you are in a business where you are sitting behind a desk and you have people out in the field selling for you, you might want to take those sales reps out for lunch, out for dinner, have them in for a meeting. They're hearing all the chatter where you're sitting behind a desk, okay? So don't forget your sales reps and vendors. They can also help you gather information about your clients or customers or even your prospects, right? They're out there in the field, so make sure to utilize them. The restaurant, I had a log or just a notebook at the register. Anytime anyone gave a suggestion, anytime one of the servers heard a suggestion from a customer, they would tell the cashier wrote it all down in one place. And by the end of, a week, I had some really great information that I could then implement in the restaurant based on what these people were telling the servers they wanted. And that's how we became so successful. So remember, your audiences, trends, products, services, they all change. So you want to stay ahead of the curve, keep on top of them. So, I would just plan these market research things at least once a year, if not at least twice a year. Schedule some time, put some money aside for this. Maybe you don't want to do any of it, but you can hire somebody to do it for you. That's okay. But it's really the only way to stay ahead of your competition and ahead of the trends. If you kind of close your eyes and just keep doing what you've done for the last 10 years, it's not going to make you any more money or get you any new business. So that's what I got for you today. So if you have any aha moments, I would love, love, love to hear them. If you have any questions, I would also love to hear that. So I'm going to just unmute you all for 1 second and just ask if anybody has a question they'd like to answer. A question they'd like to ask, and I would try and answer it. I've never done this before. I've never unmuted everyone. So if you have a question, shout it out. Hey, Les, I see you jumped on. Kevin, Lisa, Marco, James. All right, if nobody has questions, I shall move on, but put it in the chat if you do. All participation. Okay. All right, so on we go. My overall goal, oh my gosh, my overall goal every week is to provide content-rich content you can take from the sitting in your office and take it and implement it in your business. If you don't want to do target market research, assign it to somebody else that's there, but do it. We want you to generate more leads, get more clients, and make more money. I'll be live every Wednesday, 11:30 to 12:30. And any type of training that I've done for the last 7 weeks, it's over on YouTube. I did not get to upload last week's on YouTube yet, but I will be doing that as I'm leaving in about an hour to go out of town for holiday vacation. But I will be here next Wednesday, just coming to you from Florida and not from Pittsburgh. So next week, here's what we're going to talk about. Look, now that we know who your target market is, we need to get you a great marketing message. So we're talking, that's number two in the 5-step process. And a couple things that you will learn next week are how a strong marketing message will supercharge your lead gen, because that's what everybody wants, is more leads through the door, even though you should be taking care of those past customers. I get it. Everybody wants more leads. Examples of what a strong marketing message could be and should be for you. A step-by-step process so you can follow along with me, which will develop your unique marketing message. Strategies that are going to strengthen what you already have out there, if you already have a marketing message, which I'm sure you all do. And then how to test and measure if it's actually working for you. Is your marketing message really working for you? And then how to be consistent and, you know, be strong and get your message out there. There are definitely strategies and tactics to be able to do that. So that's what we're going to be talking about next Wednesday from sunny Florida. And so again, I'll just open it up one more time if anybody has any questions. And if not, oh, Andy, I see Andy just jumped on. If anybody has any questions, we'll go now for questions. And if not, then that's a wrap. Okay, that is a wrap. All right, everybody, if I don't talk to you, have a killer week. Go out, get some stuff done, get some new clients. Look, if you use any of these things that I'm talking about, please PM me and tell me how they're working for you. If you have questions that you were too shy to ask, PM me and ask me, and I will go over them with you. If you threw it in the chat and I didn't see it, PM me. I'll answer it next week. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, you guys are so welcome. If you want reminders for next week, go ahead and register now. And oops. And that's it. Please, if you have not connected with me, jump on, connect with me on Facebook. It's just Becky Auer. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm here in Pittsburgh. So if you're local and want to attend the No BS marketing meetings, we just had our holiday party last night. We have it the last Tuesday of every month with the exception of December. But please go there, register. I'd love to have you. And you can also check me out at the No BS Success Academy, which is an e-learning online school for you to participate in. And it's all this stuff that I'm teaching you, plus about a gazillion things. So, all right, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on with me. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, you guys are so welcome. All right, have a good rest of the day, and we'll talk to you next time.